Good afternoon. I'm Lonnie Shambi, and for my partner, Stan Simpkins, we're the Small Business Roundtable Facilitators. Today, we're going to talk to an interesting topic called keeping your team intact. What the heck does that mean, Stan? What do you think? Keep your team intact for what?
Well, in today's environment, it means more than ever because every loss of key players is a huge loss, unless you got a whole lot of people on the back burner.
Well, the interesting thing is, if you had looked at the newspapers, the headlines of various websites, like you would have seen in December the plans for January to cut 2,000 people here, 100,000 people there, 15,000 there. And you say to yourself, wow, these guys must have reserves sitting up in the stands waiting. And they must already be trained and ready to go, because all what they're doing is all their trainings walking out the door.
Well, Lonnie, you make a good point, but in some way it sounds like you're talking about like 15,000 line workers, or whatever. But you and I know it's not a numbers game. What happens if you only lose one person who actually is a key person?
Exactly,
and you can't replace that knowledge of the company.
And see, this is an important thing. When you talk about keeping your key people, that's critical. And how do you go about doing that? Well, first off, you make sure that they're happy because they have a key position in your company.
Well, okay. Lonnie, I'm an expert at horse corralling. And I learned because I watched Yellowstone that there's a horse that every other horse follows.
Yes, that's correct.
And if you can't control that horse, the other horses are going to be. And so you don't know that the one person who's leaving because you just weren't paying attention causes an impact on all the rest of the horses, if you will.
Well, it's not just that. It's when times are getting tough, okay? And what you need to do is you need to cut expenses. Oftentimes what people do is they cut some people. Well, a smart thing might be to not cut people, but to cut other expenses, or to have everybody take a little cut and everybody stays in place.
Right. And Lonnie, as I listen to this, I always get frustrated because I think, how do we possibly cover these subjects in 4 minutes or less? And the answer is we can't. What we want from you as an audience is we keep saying, top of mind awareness tips. And so we ask you to look at your workforce, your plans for acquiring or perhaps downsizing, but ask you to think about what's your strategic thinking in doing that. So in today's environment where maybe it will become a little easier to get those people, we only hope, that you got to be also thinking, well, maybe it's not so much how many, but who, and what's the impact of someone. And maybe the one person you're thinking getting rid of for what you think are justifiable reasons could be that lead horse you really don't want to get rid of for other reasons.
Phrase that was coined right after World War II, and it's continued different places and like. It's called labor hoarding. Okay, and what it means very simply is what I said before. It's keeping your key people no matter what, because you don't want to retrain the whole workforce. And that's incredibly important. It does two things for you. One is you keep that in-house. Two, it does enormous, great stuff for the morale of the company. I'm Lonnie Shambi, and for my partner, Stan Simpkins, we hope we got you a little bit out of your comfort zone into some top-of-mind awareness. From us to you, we're the Small Business Virtual Roundtables. Go take a look. www.sbvirtualroundtables.com.